evening. It's Wednesday, January 11th. And thanks so much for being here on my channel, Everyday Talk 24/7. Such a blessing to have you. We're going to continue looking at Psalm 2, but I'm going to go to the end of the psalm because we need that perspective, that blessing that is here for us. We've got a couple of cows close, so you'll be hearing them in the background too. The beauty of what's here in this psalm is really bound up in the last words that are here. What joy for all who take refuge in him. There's the judgment of God. There's people who go against God and it doesn't go well for them. But Psalm 2 ends the same way that Psalm 1 begins. The two are meant to work together. Here's how Psalm 1 opens. Oh, the joys of those who do not follow the advice of the wicked, or stand around with the sinners, or join with the mockers. But they delight in the law of the Lord. They find refuge there, which is what Psalm 2 is trying to tell us. Psalm 1 warns about standing in those ways. And then Psalm 2 says exactly what happens when people join together against God. And as we mentioned last night, this focus has shifted. It's changed from being about geopolitical things, about countries, about big armies. Now the battle is in the heart, in the human heart. That's where the battle rages. That's where your battle rages. And we're being told all the time that God is not worth it. That I follow God and all I get is a bunch of garbage. All I get is a bunch of just unending trouble and pain. But what Psalm 2 gives us a perspective here, that there's more to life than that. That mocking God does not end well. And yes, we can take individual snapshots along the way. Just like if you took a snapshot at this beautiful sunset behind me, you say, well, isn't life great? But if this is replaced by a raging thunderstorm this time tomorrow, which it might be, you say, well, it's not so great. It's because our hope is bound in the faithfulness of God and believing that he'll be faithful to us. See, Psalm 2 lays out that the people, they go against God, and God is not fazed by that. He rebukes them. He scoffs at them. And he declares that I have placed my chosen king on the throne. That's Jesus. In Jerusalem, on my holy mountain, the king proclaims the Lord's decree. The Lord said to me, you are my son. Today I become your father. Only ask and I will give you the nations as your inheritance. The whole earth is your possession. See, Satan said, no, I'll give it to you, when he tried to tempt Christ. When Christ is the most hungry, the most tired, the most wiped out physically, hadn't eaten for 40 days, and Satan says, I'll give all this to you. And Satan says, Christ says to Satan, no, get away. I will not let you deter me from my mission, because God, my Father, has already given all these things to me. You're offering me something that's false. You're offering me a false hope, and I will not buy it. When we are under similar duress, under similar pressure, Psalm 2 says, don't look at all the mess around us. Don't allow other folks, other situations, other claims, other people who want to rule you rather than Christ. People who want to give you a different alternative, a different worldview. Psalm 2 says, don't buy it, because they're under the wrath of God. And yes, you and I may be undergoing some really difficult times at the moment. No question there. But there's only one place of refuge, and that's God. And we need to cry out to God that we would see that refuge. If we need his hand, we need to keep crying out for him, because he has promised he will not leave us or forsake us, even when all seems lost. Because the promise that's here Psalm 2 is ending the way Psalm 1 began. But what joy for all who take refuge in him. The world is told, submit to the royal Son. Bow to him. Kiss his hand in submission, because the anger of God will flare up against them. But what joy for all who take refuge in him. We've got this pond tonight with these swans swimming on it. And it's just a place of quiet refuge. That's the promise that God has for us. I pray this night that you will take refuge, take joy in the fact that God is your refuge. And we may not be able to see it at the moment, but this promise is here. God has staked his honor and his reputation on it. He will not leave us go. He will not turn from us, but he will be the faithful refuge that he's promised to be, and he staked the life of his Son on it. These two Psalms, 1 and 2, sum up what life is all about. Can we trust God, or can we trust ourselves? Can we trust the world around us, the people who mock God, who say God can't do it? Let's hang on to God. Believe that he will do it, that he will bring his joy to us. Think of that reflecting pool. Think of those psalms, the swans that are out there. Think of the quiet place that God offers us in the middle of a turmoil of people who are mocking God. How's it working out for them? It's not getting any better. Only gets more dire. But for us, God says, what joy for all who take refuge in him. And that's the thought for this night. As the sun sets, I pray that whatever situation you're in, the Spirit of God will center you, direct you to take refuge and find joy in the refuge of God, in the refuge of his Son. That's our hope. Thanks so much for being here. Check us out everydaytalk247.com. If you haven't subscribed, turn on post notifications. These videos will come right to you. Again, thank you so much for your support and encouragement. And Lord willing, tomorrow we'll take another look at the implications of this powerful song for the psalm for our life today. You have a great night. Bye-bye.